Imagine this. You're in the final stretch of a long and grueling marathon. You've worked hard, pushed through storms, celebrated victories, and carried more than your fair share of burdens. Now, just as you're nearing the part of life where peace should finally reign, someone steps in, not to cheer you on, but to slow you down. Maybe it's a sibling, a friend, a neighbor, even your own child. They come with smiles, stories, and subtle demands. They don't say it outright, but the message is clear. Drop everything for me. Make my problem yours. Forget your peace. Mine is more important. And just like that, you're no longer the protagonist of your own life story. This is where Carl Jung's philosophy pierces through the fog of obligation and emotional manipulation. Jung often emphasized individuation, the journey toward becoming your truest self. That journey requires boundaries, clarity, and sometimes painful honesty. Today, more than ever, you must learn to say no to the 5 requests that steal your time, your energy, and ultimately, your soul. Let's dive into these 5 toxic asks and why refusing them is the ultimate act of self-respect. 1. Don't carry what was never yours to begin with. It always starts innocently. Can you help just this once? It's just a small favor. I really don't have anyone else. Before you know it, you're holding up someone else's world while yours begins to crumble. Maybe you've been there, taking responsibility for a sibling's mistakes, becoming the family's emotional support system, or cleaning up messes made by others. And because you love them, you say yes, again and again. But here's the truth. Love isn't about self-destruction. Carl Jung said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And part of that acceptance means realizing you're not a lifeline. You're a human being. You are not obligated to save people who refuse to save themselves. When you carry burdens that aren't yours, you rob yourself of peace. And when you do it long enough, you lose touch with who you are. Your life is not a dumping ground for other people's unresolved chaos. Say no. Let the rope fall. The people who truly care about you will understand. And those who don't? They were never respecting your peace to begin with. 2. Stop being the family bank. It often begins with a phone call. You see a familiar name flash on your screen. A family member. Someone close. At first you feel warmth. Maybe they're calling just to check in. But then comes the ask. Can I borrow some money? Just for a little while. Deep down, you already know. This is not a loan. It's a donation, disguised in guilt and expectation. You worked hard your entire life. You've sacrificed, saved, and suffered. And now, instead of reaping the rewards of your effort, someone wants to dip into your stability for their own convenience. This isn't generosity. This is emotional extortion. Lending money when you're in a stable phase of life can be catastrophic. One favor turns into 5. The money doesn't come back. Your phone rings less. Their gratitude fades. And the damage? Permanent. If you've ever lent money and felt that sinking sensation afterward, you're not alone. And you're not wrong for feeling taken advantage of. Let this be your new mantra. If I lend, I lose twice. Money and peace. You're not a bank. And even if you were, banks don't hand out loans without contracts. 3. You are not a mediator for family drama. There's nothing more emotionally draining than being pulled into a conflict that isn't yours. Maybe your children are fighting. Maybe siblings are divided over property. Maybe your spouse wants you to fix a feud that's been brewing for years. You enter the battlefield as a peacemaker, but end up being the one wounded the most. This is the hard truth. You cannot fix what people are committed to breaking. Trying to mediate family drama often backfires. You get blamed. Sides are formed. Your peace becomes collateral damage. Even more heartbreaking, watching your legacy, your home, your values, your dreams become points of contention in someone else's war. Jung once said, "Conflict exists strictly because we do not wish to recognize ourselves in the other. So let others fight their battles. Your job is not to absorb the emotional debris of other people's wars. Your job is to preserve your inner sanctuary. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to step back." 4. Refuse to erase yourself for someone else's comfort. You've spent decades becoming who you are. Your style, your routines, your values. They weren't built overnight. They're layered with memories, lessons, and scars. And yet, someone, often with good intentions, comes along and says, "Don't dress like that. It's outdated. You shouldn't still listen to that music. Why are you still doing things that way?" They're not just asking for a change. They're asking you to suppress your identity. But let's be crystal clear. Your authenticity is not up for negotiation. You don't need to modernize yourself to stay relevant. You are not software that needs an update. You are a story, rich, layered, and worthy of respect. You have a right to keep the habits that ground you, the music that moves you, and the clothes that express you. The people who love you should never ask you to shrink for their comfort. Jung taught that individuation, becoming truly yourself, is the purpose of life. So stand tall in your quirks, embrace your traditions, wear your age like a badge of honor, because anyone asking you to change for them doesn't truly see you. 5. Don't be a sacrifice for someone else's feelings. If you don't do this, I'll be so disappointed. If you say no, it'll really hurt me. You're the only one I have. These are the words of manipulation cloaked in sentiment. Suddenly, your choices are no longer yours. You're made to feel selfish for setting boundaries. You're taught that their feelings are more important than your peace. But here's what you must understand. Guilt is not love. And emotional blackmail is not connection. No one, no matter how close, has the right to demand you dim your light so they can shine. Putting others first isn't noble when it costs you your identity, energy, or health. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you choose peace. Carl Jung reminded us that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And that privilege dies the moment you prioritize someone else's emotions over your own reality. You don't exist to please, you exist to live. Peace is the most expensive thing you'll ever own. Let's be honest, life doesn't slow down for anyone. The older we get, the more we crave silence, space, and sincerity. And yet the world continues to pull at us with demands, favors, and guilt trips. This is why you must become a guardian of your peace. Say no to what drains you. Say yes to what heals you. Stop rescuing people who keep jumping into the fire. Stop paying emotional debts that were never yours to begin with. Stop apologizing for protecting your joy. You've earned this moment. Let no one, not guilt, not love, not obligation, take it away. So the next time someone shows up with an outstretched hand and a heavy request, ask yourself this: are they thinking about my well-being as much as I'm thinking about theirs? If the answer is no, then you already know what to do. Walk away, not out of anger, but out of wisdom, because peace is your birthright, and it's time you claimed it.